Hello, students. Welcome back to your computer science class. Today, I would like to take few minutes to explain to you about the journal, the ICT journal, the 8 programs that I have told you all to make. I have a virtual journal with which I can share with you and explain to you what I'm looking out for. So this is the practical journal that I want you all to do. In the practical journal, you will write practical file on the top, then you will write computer science, that is the name of the subject, write 11 standard, and then write Python because this is the language. Under it, sorry, don't write 11 standard over here, we will write it under it over here. Name, class, school, roll number. So your full name, your class, your school's name, that is Gopi Birla Memorial School, and your roll number. Then the next page will be index. Here you can see there are 2 pages of index, but you will have only 1 page of index. You have only 8 programs to do. Been very kind to you all. Please do those 8 programs correctly and make a good PDF file. I'm really taking out time to explain this to you. Then on a new page, every program on a new page I want you to write the name of the program. No need to highlight it like this in yellow, not required. Just write the name of the program, then write the code, and then write the output of the program. Next, new page, program 2, name of the program, the code, and the output. This is what I want in your practical files that is required to be submitted. I do not remember the date again. I think it was 24th or 26th. It was written on the group. I will confirm it with you on the Zoom class. So over here, I'm going to now revise with you a few programs. These are the very initial programs we did this year. These are sequential programs. We do not have any if-else statements or for loop or while loop over here. So the program flows in a sequential order from the beginning till the end. So let's start with the first program here, which is x raised to n. X and n are both integers that you take from the user, and then you input and then you just display the answer. So you calculate it and you display it, or you can directly display it in your print statement, no problem. The other one is write a program for calculating simple interest. Okay, so for this program, again, we need the details from the user, the principal amount, the rate of interest, and the time, PRT on 100. But remember, when you're doing this, you will put PRT or PNR, whatever are your initials, in round brackets, and then divided by 100. Don't not put those round brackets, otherwise division works first, PRT works later, your answer goes wrong. These are the things you must keep in mind when you're writing your exam paper and you're writing coding on the paper. This much is very important because all the teachers keep this in mind. That is the precedence of operators. Write a program to accept a number from the user and display whether it is an even or an odd number. You are going to use the modulus operator over here. You will divide it by 2 and you will check, is there a remainder? So you say modulus 2 equal to 0. So if there is no remainder, we make it even. There is a remainder, we make it odd. Okay. Next, write a program to accept percentage of a student and display its grade. Again, I find this a very simple program. All you have to do is ask the user for the percentage, and then later on you just have to calculate it. If it is more than 85, you are saying A. If it's more than 70, less than 85, then you say B. If it's more than 60, less than 70, we say C. And if it's more than 45 and less than 60, we say D. Else we say E. Okay. Now, very important over here, this bifurcation is generally given in the paper. It's a part of the question. And this is an if-else-if program. Next. So this is not a sequential flow. These two are conditional, depending on the answer given by the user. Decision-making program. Now we are going to the loop-making program. So write a program to print the Fibonacci series up to a certain limit. Fibonacci is a very important program that you must remember. So in this Fibonacci series, this is a very simple program. I'm taking three integers or three variables over here, x, y, z. X is 0, y is 1, z is 1. And I'm taking I, which is a limit from the user. I'm asking the user up till what limit do they want us to show the Fibonacci series. Then we begin. And then I print the Fibonacci series. I print the first two terms of the Fibonacci series direct from my variables, that is 0 and 1, x and y. And then I say end equals to blank because I want the entire series to come in a straight line. Then I'm starting my while loop, and my while loop is going to work till my z, that is my third variable, is less than the limit given by my user. So z is less than or equal to I. Up till then, my Fibonacci series will run. Now inside my while loop, the first thing I'm doing is I'm printing my third series, third part of the series, the third element of the series. And that I'm doing using my z variable, which is again 1. 0 plus 1 is 1. So I have initiated my variables as x, y, z, 0, 1, 1. Now I'm printing z. The reason I'm printing it on the top of my while loop is because my manipulation will happen at the bottom. This manipulation is what I like to call as iski topi uske saath, just changing it. Okay, so basically y will become x, z will become y, and z will get new value to it. Okay, so how we are going to do it? Y equals to x. So x was 0, the new value became 1. Okay, now y and z were same, so y equals to z, y's value still remains 1. And my z equals to x plus y, which is 1 plus 1, which becomes 2. The second time my while loop runs, the first thing we print is number 2. So 0, 1, 1, 2. Then we go inside. Now my value of y, which was 1, is going to x. Okay, my value of z, which was 2, goes to y. And my z gets another value, that is 2 plus 1, which is 3. So my Fibonacci, and then the next time the while loop runs, the first printing is of my next term, that is 5. 3 plus 2 is 5. Like that, it will keep running again and again and again. So my x, y, and z, that is 0, 1, 1. First, they are printed in their pure form, that is the value I have initiated. And then I'm doing the swapping of variables. Okay. I hope this program you all know very well. Next one is prime numbers up to a certain limit. Again, over here, the limit we take from the user. Then we are going to check if it's a prime number or not. Okay. So in the prime number, you know what is a prime number, the number that is divisible by itself and number 1. So over here, we are going to take the limit and then we are going to check for the number so num is my loop control variable in range x plus 1. So whatever my user has given me plus 1. I equals to 2. While I, that is the number 2, is less than the number, then what I am doing, I am checking if the num, that is that number, divided by I equals to 0, modulus 0. I'm getting any remainder or not. If I am not getting any remainder, it is divisible by 2, then it is not a prime number. But if it is not divisible by 2, then I'm going to check with the next number. Like that, we will keep displaying prime numbers up till a certain limit. Okay, so if my limit given by my user is 12, so I'm going to start with 0 and 1. Okay, so for num in range x plus 1. So let's say the user gave me the limit 20. So they want us to print all the prime numbers up till 20. So for num, which is my loop control variable, in range x plus 1, so 21, the value of num will start from 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So wherever you see num, you know what number to take. Then I equals to 2, and while my I is less than the number, so 2 is less than the number, then I'm saying if number divisible by I equals to 0, else num is a prime number. Like that, we can keep checking. Okay, try this program out. I'm sure you all have, but still practice it again. Don't forget these. Next one, accept a number and find and display whether it's an Armstrong number or not. This was again very simple. Over here, we are looking at only 3-digit numbers. So we are telling the user, enter a 3-digit number. We take the number, then we take an empty variable sum, which is initiated to 0 because we are going to be doing addition here. And in addition, anything added to 0 remains the same. So my initiation of sum is 0. F equals to num. So I have 2 copies of the number that my user gave me. While my F is more than 0, I am taking A, another variable, which is going to take the place value. So I'm doing F modulus 10, and then I'm saying F equals to integer of F by 10, and then I'm doing the sum of A raised to 3. So I want the sum of all the 3 digits. So if it's 3, 4, 5, I want the 3 cube, 4 cube, 5 cube, and add it together. So here I'm saying sum of A raised to 3. A over here is what? I've done modulus, right? So I will get only the remainder part. Okay. F equals to integer F 10. So it will become a 2-digit number. F now became a 2-digit number, and then goes back in the while loop, comes down, and then it will catch the last digit again, and again the cube will happen. Again it will become a 1-digit number, go inside, become a 0. So the third time it will not run. Okay, then I already have the number with me, and I got a new sum that is the addition of the individual cubes, and then I'm going to check for equality. Are the two things equal? If they are equal, then it is an Armstrong number. If they are not equal, then it's not an Armstrong number. So that was the way this program has been made. Last program for today, whether a number is perfect or not. Okay, so for this, what are we going to do? We are going to take the number from the user. I have 2 variables, I as 1 and S as 0. While my I is less than the number, if the number modulus I equals to 0, then I'm adding it to my sum. Okay, and if that sum equals to number, then it is a perfect number. Otherwise, it is not a perfect number. Okay, so very easy program. Next class, we do few more programs. Till then, stay home, stay safe, take care, keep learning. Thank you.